The crystal champagne flute shattered against marble inches from Vivian's feet, silencing 500 guests at the Zhao family's annual charity gala. She stood frozen in her emerald gown, the city's elite watching as Madame Eleanor Zhao's voice cut through the ballroom like a blade. "Officers, arrest this woman for embezzling $47 million from Sovereign Group." 3 years of invisible servitude. 3 years of managing books while they took credit. Of sleeping in a marriage that was really a prison. And now, public execution disguised as justice. Vivian's husband Ethan stood beside his mother, face carefully neutral. She searched his eyes for defense, for doubt, for anything. He looked away. "Sign these." Madame Zhao thrust divorce papers forward. "You were always just a charity case we elevated, a nobody with a pretty face. And this is how you repay our generosity?" The documents were already prepared, the media already contacted. By morning, her name would be poison. Vivian removed her wedding ring, slowly, deliberately, and dropped it into Madame Zhao's palm. "You've chosen your path," she said, her voice carrying unexpected authority. "Remember that you chose it." Security escorted her through the parting crowd. Outside, a black sedan waited, not a taxi, but a vehicle with diplomatic plates. As she settled into the leather seat, she removed a plain silver ring from her pocket, the ring marked with a single character. Feng, her real family, her real name. She pulled out an encrypted phone. One call. "Begin phase 1. I want a complete analysis of Sovereign Group's financial vulnerabilities. Timeline, 36 months. They get 3 years to feel safe. After that, Sovereign Group belongs to me." Then another call. "Grandfather, it's time. I'm ready to come home. I'm ready to take my place as the Feng heir." As the sedan merged into traffic, Vivian allowed herself the smallest smile. The Zhao family expected tears and obscurity. They had no idea what was coming. 3 years later, the view from Aethel Capital's 68th floor reduced the city to a grid of ambitions and failures. Vivian, now known only as V, stood at the windows watching the financial district wake. The woman escorted from the Zhao gala no longer existed. In her place stood a name whispered with reverence and fear. "Ms. V, the acquisition team is ready." Marcus appeared with careful deference reserved for those who could end careers with a signature. The conference room held 12 of the city's sharpest financial minds. They rose when she entered, not ceremony, but instinct. Vivian had built Aethel Capital from rumors to $20 billion reality in 36 months. "Let's begin with the complicated one," she said, taking her seat. The logo appeared. Sovereign Group. Market cap down from $2.3 billion to $800 million, David Chen reported. Hemorrhaging value. They need $400 million in 90 days or face foreclosure. "They're desperate," another analyst added. "Shopping for a white knight. Already approached 3 investors, all declined." Vivian's smile was cold as winter moonlight. "Show me their capital structure, every debt instrument, every cross-default provision. If the Zhao family is looking for a savior, let's be ready when they come begging. And if they recognize you, they won't. People only see what they expect to see." She turned back to her team. "Begin phase 2. Eleanor Zhao's composure cracked as another alert chimed. "Down 42% in 2 weeks, Leo announced. "Whoever's orchestrating this knows how to stay invisible." "Someone's systematically targeting us," Ethan said from the doorway. "Poaching investors, spreading rumors. It's surgical." More alerts synchronized across their phones. "The Marina District loan? Payment accelerated to 60 days, Ethan whispered. "Someone filed a complaint about our financial stability." Eleanor sank into her chair. How much time? 3 weeks before covenant violations, then everything cross defaults. We could lose it all. There's one possibility, Leo said. Aethel Capital emerged 3 years ago, 20 billion in assets. The CEO is anonymous, goes by V in all filings, no photos, no interviews. If they have capital, I want a meeting, Eleanor sharply said. Ethan dialed, hands trembling. Once, companies begged for sovereign meetings. Now, they were begging. Aethel Capital? This is Ethan Zhao. I need to speak with your CEO about a partnership opportunity. A pause, then, Ms. V's office can accommodate a preliminary meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. As the line went dead, Ethan felt strange unease. Something about that pause, the way they'd said his name, like they'd been expecting his call, like they'd been waiting for him to break. The Celestial Tower's 92nd floor conference room had no logos, no nameplates. Anonymity was the ultimate luxury. The Zhaos arrived early, eagerness without desperation. The receptionist led them to windows that framed the city like conquered territory. Security entered first, then she did. Vivian had choreographed this perfectly. Backlit silhouette rendering features indistinct, severe black, heels clicking with metronomic authority, face perpetually in shadow. Mr. Zhao, Mrs. Zhao. Her voice was different, deeper, carefully modulated. Years of coaching ensured that. Let's dispense with pleasantries. You're here because Sovereign Group is drowning. Eleanor's jaw tightened. We're here to discuss a strategic partnership. You're here to be rescued. The correction was surgical. Your debt-to-equity ratio is catastrophic. In 19 days, you'll violate multiple covenants, triggering complete dissolution of everything your family built. Ethan felt something cold settle in his stomach. This wasn't negotiation. This was autopsy on a living patient. Here are my terms. Vivian slid documents across. $450 million for a 68% equity stake at $600 million valuation. That's half what we were worth, Leo protested. That's twice what you'll be worth in 3 weeks. You're asking us to give up control, Eleanor hissed. I'm offering you minority shares in a solvent enterprise rather than footnotes in bankruptcy. But there are conditions. Complete C-suite restructuring. Eleanor Zhao resigns immediately and relinquishes all operational authority. Eleanor's face drained of color. You want me to step down from my husband's company? I want you to step aside from the company you've run into the ground. Vivian stood. You have 48 hours. After that, you can explain to shareholders why you chose pride over survival. At the threshold, she paused. The company your husband built? He built it on calculated risks. What you've been running is legacy cosplay funded by borrowed time. Time just ran out. Eleanor sat frozen, composure shattered. They had no choice. They'd never had one. 5 days later, Ethan arrived alone at Aethel's offices. Eleanor had taken to her bed, nursing the wound of forced resignation. This time, the lighting was softer. As Vivian turned to close the door, afternoon light caught her profile. Ethan's breath stopped. The angle of her jaw, the way her hand tucked hair behind her ear, muscle memory in his own body. Who are you? The question escaped. The CEO of Aethel Capital. No. He leaned forward. I know you. That gesture. I've seen it before. Her pause was infinitesimal. We've never met socially. Legacy cosplay. That phrase. Vivian used to say that about charity galas. Vivian stood abruptly. Your ex-wife was accused of embezzlement. Are you suggesting I remind you of a disgraced criminal? Aethel appeared 3 years ago, right after. Correlation isn't causation, Mr. Zhao. She moved toward the door, but he blocked her path. "Let me see your face, please." "This meeting is over." Security appeared within seconds. "Vivian had brown eyes," he said desperately. "Dark brown, almost black. What color are yours?" She turned her head slightly. For a fraction of a second, she looked directly at him. The light caught her eyes. Brown. Dark brown. Almost black. In the descending elevator, Ethan pulled out old photos he'd kept buried. There, Vivian at a corporate dinner, profile caught in nearly identical light. The resemblance was undeniable. If it was her, if impossibly Vivian had become V, then everything made sense. The targeting, the personal humiliation, the surgical precision. The woman he'd failed to defend wasn't here for a merger. She was here for revenge. Eleanor weaponized her social connections. "Such a shame about predatory firms like Aethel Capital," she told Patricia Chen at the Grand Meridian. "No one knows who runs it. Very suspicious. What are they hiding?" The whisper became echo. By evening, society columnists questioned Ethel's mysterious origins. By morning, a financial blogger posted allegations of suspicious trading patterns. Eleanor watched social media metrics with satisfaction. Doubt was a virus, and she just released it. "Mother, what did you do?" Ethan burst in. "They're going to retaliate." "Corpses can still poison." At 9:47 a.m., a press release hit every financial newswire. Aethel Capital releases independent audit findings on Sovereign Group corporate governance. 63 pages of forensic accounting. Every transaction, every offshore account, every questionable decision documented. The Marina District overextension, the Singapore failure, Leo's derivative contracts violating risk policies. Nothing illegal, that was the genius. Just shady enough to destroy reputations, clean enough to avoid prosecution. By 11:30 a.m., Sovereign stock plummeted 19%. Eleanor's phone rang. The Grand Meridian canceling charity commitments, the country club suggesting she take time away. Patricia Chen's assistant canceling lunch. Social exile, surgical, and immediate. A message from Aethel. Ms. S. suggests negotiations remain professional. The next time Mrs. Zhao manipulates public discourse, documents released will be less generous. We have 12 years of material. Today was Chapter 1. Ethan showed his mother the photographs, Vivian at the corporate dinner, V at the financial conference, nearly identical angles. 3 years ago, we destroyed someone. I think she's been waiting to return the favor. Eleanor's phone rang again. Another cancellation, another door closing. The corpse had never been a corpse. It had been a phoenix, waiting to burn everything down. The file arrived at 11:47 p.m. David Chen looked like he hadn't slept in days. "You need to see this." Vivian opened the red-stamped folder. $47 million, the exact amount she'd been accused of stealing. Traced through 7 shell companies, offshore accounts, the authorization codes tell the story. "Leo Zhao," she said quietly. Every transfer authorized by his digital signature. But Eleanor Zhao approved them in secondary review. She knew. She signed off on everything. Leo had systematically drained offshore subsidiaries. The Marina District, Singapore, they'd been cover, expensive distractions, while real theft happened in the shadows. When embezzlement was discovered internally, she orchestrated your accusation before legitimate investigation could occur. Vivian walked to the windows. 3 years ago, Eleanor had called her a thief in front of 500 people. They'd stolen $47 million and blamed her, stolen her reputation, her marriage, her place in society. How thorough is the evidence? Ironclad. 15 to 20 years federal prison for wire fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. This was nuclear, power to destroy the Zhao family entirely, financially, socially, legally. Make triple copies, one to attorneys, one to secure vault, one to third-party trustee. Not going to authorities yet. Right now, this information is worth more as potential energy. The threat is the weapon. She closed the folder. Schedule the final shareholder meeting. It's time to end this. 73 shareholders packed the sovereign boardroom for the emergency meeting. Eleanor stood at the table's head, Chanel suit immaculate despite trembling hands. My husband built this company from a single plant into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. For 40 years, we've been more than business, we've been family. I'm begging you to reject this takeover. Give us time to restructure. The boardroom doors opened. Vivian entered, and every breath stopped. Midnight blue dress, architectural precision, power incarnate. But it was her face, fully visible for the first time, that sent shockwaves. "Vivian," someone whispered. Eleanor gripped the table, knees threatening to buckle. Ethan's chair toppled backward. "No, that's impossible." "Hello, Madame Zhao." Vivian walked forward with measured steps. "It's been 3 years. I trust you remember me." Chaos erupted until Vivian raised one hand. Impossibly, silence fell. "My name is Vivian Feng. 3 years ago, I was accused of embezzling $47 million. I was divorced, humiliated, and banished. I did not steal that money, but someone did, and that someone is sitting in this room." Leo went pale. "I'm the sole heir to the Feng Group, one of the largest private conglomerates in Southeast Asia. My family remained deliberately reclusive, making it easy for the Zhao family to dismiss me as nobody." She smiled, cold and beautiful. "They underestimated me." Vivian placed documents before Eleanor. Complete forensic analysis of the actual embezzlement. Transactions authorized by Leo, approved by you, Eleanor. Emails, transfers, bank statements, everything a prosecutor needs for wire fraud and conspiracy convictions. Deathly silence. "I could have gone to the authorities, destroyed you publicly as you destroyed me, but I chose to beat you at your own game. I built an empire while you squandered yours. Now, sign over this company and I keep your crimes confidential. Or refuse, and both Eleanor and Leo spend the next 20 years in federal prison." Ethan found his voice. "Vivian, please, we didn't know." She looked at him, contempt making him flinch. "You didn't defend me. That's all I needed to know." The chairman reached for his gavel. "We should proceed to a vote." Everyone already knew how it would end. They'd known the moment Vivian Feng walked through those doors, alive and powerful and utterly victorious. Eleanor collapsed into her chair, all fight drained. The queen had returned, and she'd brought judgment. The vote was a formality. Democracy's ghost observed in a room where outcome was already decided. 71 hands rose. Only Eleanor and Leo abstained, prisoners awaiting sentencing. "The motion carries." Vivian stepped forward. Marcus placed a leather portfolio on the table. "Before signing, I want everyone to understand what the Zhao family stole from me." She removed her enlarged employee ID. "This is who I was. I genuinely believed in this work, and when someone systematically looted this company, who did you blame? You called me a thief, worthless. You destroyed my name." She spread forensic documents across the table. Leo stole $47 million. Eleanor approved every transfer and personally profited $15 million. They used my credentials to frame me. "Vivian, I can explain," Leo started. "Explain to a federal prosecutor." She turned to Eleanor. You called me worthless, a charity case. But I am Vivian Feng, heir to a conglomerate that makes Sovereign look like a lemonade stand. My family has controlled shipping, manufacturing, and technology across Southeast Asia for 3 generations. She placed final acquisition documents before Eleanor. Here are your options. Sign these papers transferring 100% control to Aethel Capital, resign immediately, retire quietly, never speak my name again, or I send every piece of evidence to the federal prosecutor's office within the hour. Wire fraud carries 20 years. At your age, Eleanor, that's a life sentence. Eleanor's hands trembled. You're taking everything. I'm leaving you with your freedom, which is more than you left me when you took my reputation, my marriage, and 3 years of my life. She straightened. I need an answer in 60 seconds. Vivian, please. Ethan stood. 50 seconds. Let me make this right. 40 seconds. Eleanor reached for a pen, hand shaking violently. She looked up, searching for mercy in those dark brown eyes. Found none. Sign it, Mother, Leo whispered, voice broken. Eleanor's signature was barely legible, the end of 40 years of power. When finished, Vivian collected documents with care. Effective immediately, Sovereign Group is now a wholly owned subsidiary of Aethel Capital. Security will escort the former executive team from the building. At the door, she paused. You told me I was finally doing what I was there for, taking the fall for your family. You were wrong. I was never there to fall. I was there to learn. And you taught me everything I needed to know about destroying an empire from within. In the boardroom, Eleanor wept, hollow tears of someone watching their world collapse under the weight of their own sins. The Queen had delivered her verdict, and there was no appeal. By Friday evening, Sovereign Group had been officially absorbed into Aethel Capital's portfolio. Vivian stood in what was now her tower, watching city lights ignite as dusk settled. Mr. Ethan Zhao is requesting a private meeting, Marcus announced. Ethan had left 17 voicemails. She'd ignored them all. But tonight, with victory complete, she could afford closure. He entered looking aged a decade. Vivian. That's not my name anymore. The marriage was dissolved. Vivian Zhao ceased to exist when you let your mother throw those papers at me. I know what we did. By not defending you, I destroyed you too. It only took you 3 years and total financial ruin to find your conscience. She poured water with steady hands. You should have loved me, or at least respected me enough to question whether the woman who dedicated 3 years to your family would suddenly steal from it. I was weak. I chose my family over you. You chose comfort over character. There's a difference. She sat with poise, transcending his approval. I assume you came to negotiate. No, to apologize, and to ask if there's any way we could start again. The request hung in the air, absurd in its presumption. Vivian laughed, genuine, devoid of bitterness, but also hope. Look around this office. Do you honestly believe I spent 3 years constructing an empire because I was waiting for you to apologize? I did this because your family took something no money can buy, my reputation, my dignity, my belief in justice. So I made my own justice. She walked to the window. You want forgiveness? I don't hate you enough to withhold it. You were weak, not malicious, so yes, I forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I loved a version of you that never existed, a man who would stand beside his wife against the world. That man wasn't real, and the woman you married isn't real either. Then who are you now? I'm Vivian Feng, CEO of Aethel Capital, the woman who dismantled your family's empire with the same precision you used to try to destroy her. She smiled, cold and serene. I'm the corporate queen, and I don't share my throne. His shoulders sagged. So we're done? We were done 3 years ago. You just didn't notice. As he walked toward the door, he paused. For what it's worth, I'm proud of what you've become. Ethan? He turned back, hope reigniting. It's not worth much. After he left, Vivian returned to the window, watching his car pull away. Her phone buzzed. Press conference confirmation, acquisition targets, congratulations from her father. The world moved forward, and she moved with it. Alone, powerful, vindicated. She placed her hand against the glass. Below, the city pulsed with 1,000,000 ambitions, 1,000,000 betrayals, 1,000,000 battles for dignity. She'd fought hers and won. Vivian Feng, the corporate queen, stood alone in her tower, her honor reclaimed, her empire secured, her reign just beginning. And she had never felt more completely, triumphantly, herself.
If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and subscribe so you'll never miss a great story. Don't forget to comment if you want to know what happens next.